right up to the minute.
From Calexico, Nunavut, from the Aleutian Islands to Newfoundland, through Dallas, Fort Worth, and Detroit, Michigan. We have the continent covered. This is the Dynasty Pulse on the Fantasy Football Plus and Undroppables networks. We are live tonight, and you are here with us. Thank you for being here. Producer. Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse with Grindberg and Biggs. We are live mock drafting tonight. We've got a bunch of special guests to introduce before we get this draft started. And we're going to bring on a couple of them right now. First, we got our producer, Schultze. He's in the building. And our special guest host, the daddy of Fantasy Football Plus and our boss at Player Profiler News on the news desk. We're talking to Bradley Stalder. Come on, boy. All right. Now, we are 80% of the way there because we have another dude in the building. And you might know him as Derek Brown. I've been following him on Twitter for a long, long time. Let's get DBro in here. Okay, that's it. That's all of us. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
It's all downhill from here, right? That's how it goes.
That's it. How's everybody doing?
Oof, it's a good night, boys. We got some training camp news popping on the daily. 32 beat writers. Coach Speak Index is just lighting up my timeline.
Player Profiler on today.
X.
Says you're watching Player Profiler today every day, especially Fridays and Wednesdays.
And Thursdays.
And Thursdays.
Yeah.
And Thursdays.
Hey,
and Thursdays.
Well, welcome, DBro. We're happy to have you on. It's been far too long since you and I have potted together. But DBro, Fantasy Pros expert, and you grind your butt off throughout the year. They're like all of DBro stuff. You guys need to be reading it throughout. Especially the NFL season, but also the rookies. Like DBro, you crushed it with the Puka Nacua call. I think he's the only person who out Puka Nacua'd me in the industry. Like, I think that, like, I have receipts dating back, way back, but I looked and I'm like, there's only one other guy that I can find who out Puka Nacua'd me, and it's Derek Brown himself. So shout out to you. It was a game changer. And I appreciate all the work that you've been doing with Fantasy Pros and the way in which you've inspired a lot of other people in the industry as well. So keep crushing, DBro. Like, it is like, maybe you don't even realize how
some really high praise, Brad. Like, you're laying it on thick, dude. I love you to death, but those are some kind words, man. Very kind words.
Make sure you guys are checking out DBro stuff on the off season and in the in season for Fantasy Pros, because it's worth your time. It's worth it because you're going to be winning your fantasy championships with DBro by your side.
So Derek, who is the 2024 Puka Nacua?
That's the one question I have avoided answering the entire offseason. I swear, dude. People ask me in YouTube comments, they ask me out on X, and I'm like, oh, don't put me in this hole, baby. Don't back me into a corner here. Like, oh, God.
Don't put baby in a corner, baby.
Don't put baby in a corner. Dude, nobody.
If there was a guy out there that I mean, come on, like, that was going to go out and break every single rookie record known to NFL and mankind, like, I mean, sure, I'd love to toss out a name, but, whew, I mean, he had just an amazing run out. So the answer is likely nobody. Now, we're going to get into the startup and stuff. There's a lot of rookies that I'm over the moon on this year, some late round guys, things like that. So there are guys that I like, but I don't know if anybody's ever going to rival that type of rookie season ever again.
No table talk.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you there, DBro, before we get into the mock here, because there's a guy that you've been kind of sprucing up on Twitter a little bit, and I want to hear a little bit more about it because I'm kind of in the same boat as you, and I'm a big fan of Jaleel McLaughlin and what his outlook for 2024 could look like. And you have him pegged as a top 24 running back, and I'm with you there, buddy. So tell our viewers, tell everybody else around us why you're so high on Jaleel McLaughlin.
I mean, no matter what efficiency metric, and I go through this when we get in the early offseason, you kind of go back, and I love to just open up a data suite like Fantasy Points or PFF, things like that, and I'm looking through numbers, and you're just kind of like going through and combing through and seeing like, okay, who pops in certain efficiency metrics? Maybe some of these guys were a lot better than what we give them credit for. And I remember early in the offseason, I had to go back and check receipts, man. Like, I mean, this is like freaking January, I don't know, late December, January or something like that. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Like, everything you pull up for Jaleel McLaughlin is just nutso. Like, he's top 20, top 15 in everything. Yards per route run, missed tackles forced per attempt, explosive run rate, yards after contact. Like, every efficiency metric that I care about, he pops in everything. And then you add on like, okay, because the one big thing, like every time I bring up his name, people go, the automatic comment back to it is, was Javonte Williams just retiring? And I'm like, no. Like, you really don't get it. Javonte Williams, this is not me shading Javonte Williams. Do I have worries about Javonte Williams? Yes. Anybody that saw him play football last year should have worries about him because he was a shell of his former self. Like, maybe the knee looks better this year, but we don't have any definitive confirmation he's going to get back that tackle-breaking juice that he had when he first... Like, I love Javonte Williams as a prospect. Again, go check the receipts. I loved him coming out of North Carolina. But with Jaleel McLaughlin, this is an offense we know is going to throw to the freaking running backs. Like, Denver led the entire damn NFL in targets to the running back position. And if you want to say, okay, well, that's a one-year outlier. Okay, fine. Let's look back at all of Sean Payton's offenses over the last 8 to 10 years. Here's the rankings in targets to the running back position. Last year, like I said, led the NFL. In 2021, 4th. The year before that, 3rd. The year before that, 4th. 3rd, 1st, 2nd. You see where I'm going here, boys?
Yeah.
4th, 3rd. Every single freaking year. They're top 5 in running back targets. And on top of all of that, they got freaking check down Bo Nix that's going to be quarterback this year. Like, everything is pointing to wheels up for Jaleel McLaughlin. Like, I understand we haven't seen it. I understand there's a projection there. But literally, there's so many positives, and it's like everybody else just wants to bury their head in the freaking sand like an ostrich and pretend like these things didn't happen and they don't exist. And I'm like, no, dude, if he hits, it's going to be awesome.
Right.
Well, and the other part to consider is that the initial depth chart right now for the Denver Broncos, Samaje Perine is 5th. And he had how many targets last year? Those are going to have to go to someone else. Maybe it's Javonte, maybe, Blake Watson, whatever. I love Blake Watson still. But Jaleel McLaughlin, the pathway for getting more of the targets is certainly there if he's the running back too, very clearly. And Samaje Perine's lost all those targets in the depth chart. So I just want to add that too, DBro, that there's immediate context right now for a pass catcher in the running back room, not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Perine didn't play good last year, and everybody said they also bring up the name Audric Estime, and I'm like, Estime didn't even have 20 targets in his entire freaking collegiate career. He's not going to play that role. So if you're worried about Estime, and Estime is the worry that you should have if you care about Javonte Williams. He's not going to play the same role as Jaleel McLaughlin. And again, people bring up the name Blake Watson, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, Blake Watson would like a word. And I'm like, dude, y'all think I hate Blake Watson? Apparently nobody listened to any of the Fantasy Pros NFL draft show because I was out there talking about how much I love Blake Watson. So this is not even like an anti-Blake Watson take. I have him on every single Dynasty roster that I have. Like, across my leagues, there's only one league that I didn't have Blake Watson in, and it happens to be my Fantasy Pros league that I'm in with all my coworkers, and Ryan Wormley, one of the hosts, and our social media guy over at Fantasy Pros, freaking sniped him. Like he got him off of waivers, and he spent like $150 in fab. He's like, "You're not getting him." I was like, "You suck, worm."
Well,
Twitter.
Blake Watson
Twitter's fun.
is what Jaleel McLaughlin is. He needs to go the same path. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they're very similar running backs, and Jaleel McLaughlin has already got a year involved, and his metrics are there. So I don't see how Blake Watson can take on that unless he's any more efficient. And we all know that he can't be at this stage because look how efficient Jaleel McLaughlin's been. So awesome, guys. We're 8:15 now. So
Let's get this party started.
Jalen Warren.
yeah, could be. All right, let's get this draft going here. Are we ready to go, boys?
I'm ready.
Yeah, man. Let's light this candle.
Okay, I'm gonna pop it on the stage here, and I'm gonna start the draft.
We're moving.
And
Go ahead and mute that, Bradley.
On it.
I already told Schultze when we were planning on Schultze being the board guy.
This is a unconventional dynasty kind of draft because you don't see a whole lot of one quarterbacks anymore. So the super flex is kind of leading the way. So we're doing a little bit of a different stroke here because we want to challenge our viewers and our panel here. So
I just did one with Chuck Bass this morning. So whatever.
All right. So we got DBro in the 3 slot, Schultze, our producer, and number 4, Bradley, our chief and executor at number 5, Biggs at 7. Yeah. and then I'm at I think I'm at 10. So
I always like to read it as DJ Abudi.
Oh, here we go. Justin Jefferson first off the board. What?
So DBro, you're first up the bat here. So what is your kind of strategy headed into this?
Wide receiver, baby. I want one of the top 3 wide receivers. I mean, Chase, it's either Chase or it's Amon-Ra here for me. I look at Chase and I freaking love him. I think he can be the wide receiver 1 overall. I know that's not like breaking any glass and shattering anybody's expectations, but I love Chase this year. I think he's going to eat, man.
Love it. Yeah, I mean,
I like to build through wide receivers too. Like, you're not going to see me, regardless of any format. Like, I don't give a crap if I'm at the back end of the first round. Maybe I'll look at a running back, but 9 times out of 10, it is wide receivers or it's quarterbacks. Like this format, I'm picking a wide receiver, or I'm trading up probably to a spot to pick a wide receiver.
Absolutely. All right, so we have our first rookie off the board, and Bradley. Tell us about Marvin Harrison and why you have him as the 5th overall pick in a non-super flex dynasty startup.
Yeah, well, DBro was talking about wide receivers, but we want Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be the number 1 target for Kyler Murray. Kyler is underrated pass volume. Like, he's not like other rushing quarterbacks. He's more like Josh Allen in terms of passing volume and less like Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields. And so he is going to hyper target this first round pick. I'm here for Marvin Harrison. I have no worries. It's clear that he's going to be the first target for this team. And there's questions of whether the Arizona defense is going to be any good. We could see a lot of shootouts, and a rising tide lifts all boats. We think Trey McBride plus Zay Jones plus these other pieces, in addition to Marvin Harrison, James Conner, Trey Benson, like there are pieces of this Arizona offense that are going to be very good. And so we want to tie ourselves to good offenses with good quarterbacks. Number 1 option. Harrison has the pedigree, both in the draft capital and is literal pedigree. So we want Marvin Harrison. We want to be bullish on Marvin Harrison.
Okay. So I'm going to be in a position here right away where I'm going to just leave it out here. I'm going to be in a spot where I'm going to be looking at between 2 wide receivers here, and that's between Puka Nacua and Garrett Wilson. So that's the position I'm in right now after Jahmyr Gibbs goes. We see 5 wide receivers go and then 4 running backs, and I'm going to go here with Puka Nacua. And there's a reason behind that. I mean, just his rookie season is unlike any other. You know, we talked about that in depth right now, like at the beginning of the show with DBro, and Biggs has got a little bit of pushback on Puka this year, and I want to hear about that, Biggs. Can you tell us and the viewers a little bit more about what you see out of Puka? Because you took a little bit of pushback on our redraft show, and I want you to justify yourself and maybe get some input from DBro, who was a big Puka advocate.
Like, you're low on him or you're high on him?
Okay, we in our redraft show, we had an episode where we were fading wide receivers, and I faded him from top 4 into the back of the top 10 based on his numbers when Cooper Kupp is on the field and projecting Cooper Kupp is going to play more this year than he did last year. That's it. It was very simple. It was show topic. He's still a top 10 receiver, god damn it.
Yeah.
That wasn't in question. But somebody took issue with it, and whatever. I mean,
that was my burner account. Sorry.
For him to repeat what he did last year in the first 4 games of the season, he's not going to be able to do it. I mean, that's because nobody's done it. So that's all. That was the whole point.
Ooh, Malik Neighbors at the 1-2 turn. Wow.
I think we could see more ceiling out of Puka this year than we saw last year. Just to that point. But when both of them were on the field together, Puka was the wide receiver 12 in fantasy points per game as a freaking rookie. So
right. What I was talking about was purely his target share. When both were on the field, his target share went down by 30%.
Still 25.4 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I get it. It was people were parsing the words fade.
No, I get that. I'm just giving you shit right now. Like,
yeah.
To be honest, like, I think as long as like he's somewhere in somebody's wide receiver 1 rankings, then I think it's fine. I'm over the moon for him because I think like not only everything he showed us in his rookie season, but if we believe in, because we always talk about this in dynasty circles, invest in second-year wide receivers, especially guys that flash in their first year. You can't flash any more than breaking every damn rookie record. So I'm like,
right.
There's a range where if you were, and I'll sum it up this way to tie a bow on this. If you were to tell me that Puka Nacua went not full legend mode like Cooper Kupp did, a few years ago, but it was really damn close to it, and he was a top 2 to 3 wide receiver this year, I wouldn't be shocked at all because he was already kind of doing that before Kupp came back. So like, Kupp a year older, if they want to run the passing attack through Puka this year and make him just like the dude, I wouldn't be that damn surprised about it.
Right. And I don't disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
God, dang it. I was hoping Drake London would fall, but apparently this room is too sharp. That just made me mad.
Yeah, that was big. Mine.
That was a very, very good pick.
I mean, Drake London is being steamed up. He is not being considered a value anymore, and he hasn't proven that he's getting that steam yet. Like is he worth that draft value at this stage? He's getting steamed up pretty big. He's getting up there in the top 10 wide receivers at this stage, and you're putting him with a quarterback that's coming off an ACL injury that we don't know where he's at, where his progression is at, and we just think that because they have a new quarterback that everything is going to be great in Atlanta. So it's just an interesting situation, and it's something that people are reaching on him for, and there's a lot of steam up, and I love Drake London. I think he's worth some of the steam, but he hasn't proved it yet. So what are we thoughts on that?
So I'll disagree with the steam. I think he's being properly valued in the way that the problem for Drake London to this point in his career, and let me figure out who the heck I'm going to take here. Let me see. Screw it. Let's stay on the wide receiver train. Hello, Brandon Ayuk. But as far as Drake London, man, like I think he's probably being valued because the problem with him, if you want to go back to his rookie season, we want to compare him like versus like, okay, what did Puka Nacua do in his first rookie season? If Drake London would have had that type of infusion of volume over the last 2 years, he didn't because his coach is a dumbass and he had bad quarterback play. But if he had that type of infusion of volume, I mean, we're talking about a guy that in his rookie season, amongst all wide receivers at least 50 or more targets. Was 4th in target share, 15th in yards per route run, and 7th in first downs per route run. So, like, I think he's already shown us he has the talent, and now he finally gets competent quarterback play and passing volume so we can see him do what he's been doing, but on a much grander stage with more freaking targets.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I got a little pushback on that is, like, who's to say that those targets aren't going to go to another, top 10 pick that they had in Kyle Pitts? Those, yeah, the targets could get spread out there. So we're expecting that higher volume passing offense. And I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate in the Drake London cause, because I think he's being valued, like you said, very evenly at this stage. But he hasn't proved it just yet. So
I would the pushback that I'd say about that is we have no qualms about ranking Marvin Harrison Jr. as a top 5 to 10 dynasty wide receiver, and we haven't seen him at all in the NFL, and he's got to deal with Trey McBride. But we have qualms about the steam for Drake London, and he's got to deal with Kyle Pitts.
See,
kind of feels like we're kind of picking and choosing our narratives.
2 years ago, Drake London, his rookie year, his target share was what, 28%? On a bad team as a rookie, 28% approximately. And so we're looking at him coexisting with Kyle Pitts in that same offense. Kyle Pitts getting a 20-something% target share. They've existed in the same offense before. I'm not worried about Darnell Mooney either, nibbling into that. So it's going to be those two who are the leading target getters. And then the question is Bijan going to have more targets, or is it going to be Darnell Mooney? That's the actual question. Who's going to be the third receiving option? And I think it's probably Bijan, actually. So
yeah, they're talking a lot about Bijan being steamed up, and Bijan's already talking about him wanting that role.
But by the way, Biggs, you need to give Sleeper a high five for that egregious ADP on Nico Collins. How you were just able to.
I was gonna take Nico Collins with this pick. Gosh darn it!
I just got to throw, because here's the thing. If I wouldn't have been on the clock and multitasking, I would have taken Nico Collins with my second pick. He wouldn't even have gotten there.
Well, yeah, I thank you, Derek.
That was you got to love Sleeper ADP at this time of the year. It's a glorious gift that keeps on giving.
Let me ask you a question, DBro, about Fantasy Pros ADP.
I got that.
A couple weeks ago, we were doing a show, and I was scrolling through the Fantasy Pros ADP. And Marvin Harrison Jr. was in the 60 range of wide receiver ADP. Did you guys find that glitch and figure it out?
I'll have to go talk to the powers that be.
I was shocked.
Not be there. He should not be there.
I was shocked.
Yeah, that needs to get addressed. Speaking of second-year wide receivers that I believe in the upside. Hello, Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, yeah.
I have Son of a bitch.
He wasn't getting to you, man. He had no chance.
I know now.
This is great. We got some sharps in this room right now. Shout out to, we got Rhinos and a couple guys from Undroppables, AWL Sabermetrics. So welcome, guys. What else do we have here? Oh, we've got Jeremiah Retzlaff from Fantasy Football Plus Network and Player Profiler. So welcome, guys, to the show. All right. Where are we at, DBro? You looking like you might need somebody other than a wide receiver here. Are we going back to the well?
Maybe, but I don't know if I do. I mean, we're starting 3 wide receivers, and we got 2 flex spots in this exercise here, man.
Yeah.
Nah, I think I'm just going to go with another one. Hello, Tank Dell.
There you go.
Son of a gun.
He wasn't getting to you, Brad. Come on.
God, I wanted both of these Houston receivers, and I'm just getting
Well, you can take Diggs. Diggs is still out there. Why don't you take him?
Because he had one of the worst PFF receiving grades in the second half of the season.
I know. I'm absolutely gaslighting you.
I need to step in here. I need to step in here and settle something. You cannot call it a snipe unless it was the pick before you were going to take somebody.
Boo.
That's Biggs has a point.
Boo.
It's just Brad's just griping. It's okay, Biggs. He'll get it out of his system, okay? It's okay.
Look, we've got an aging wide receiver who played really poor the second half of last season, who has had issues with targets not coming his way, who gets traded to a team where he's now third fiddle. That's going to go great, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be wonderful. There's no chance that he pulls an Antonio Brown, takes his shirt off, and he retires at halftime by week 5. There's no chance. No chance. It won't happen. I mean, I'm defending Stephon Diggs' honor. It won't happen.
Ooh, a George Pickens coming off the board.
That's a spicy meatball.
I like it.
That's a good pick.
I don't want to shade anybody's pick, but can I bring up something about Jordan Addison real fast?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I say he's one of the most overrated second-year wide receivers that is literally on the board right now? I want nothing to do with him, and I'd be trading him away everywhere I had him.
Everywhere.
Are you the
I'm
one
on the
that
same.
tweeted that? Because I've been seeing that out there.
I did tweet that a while back, but people don't listen to me. Come on, you know this, guys. Come on.
Oh.
They like to give me
listen.
shit about stuff, but they don't listen.
I like that take. I do. I like it a lot.
I mean, dude, he lived all of it's literally Jahan Dotson 2.0, lived all of the touchdowns. Like if you look at every other metric, it's legit bad.
Yeah. He's been a hard click in the best ball streets too. I've probably done over 100.
I haven't clicked him once,
streets.
Brad.
I
haven't
don't
clicked
think,
him once.
It's so hard because at that point too, you're considering like most are the 0 RB or like hero RB builds, and he's around like the David Montgomerys or the Alvin Kamaras, and like in best ball, give me those guys compared to what floor could exist for Jordan Addison with a rookie quarterback. Justin Jefferson's there, and
I mean,
look, Aaron Jones can catch out of the backfield too.
They're just encapsulating it this way amongst 81 qualifying wide receivers last year. He was outside the top 45 wide receivers in target share, targets per route run, yards per route run, and first downs per route run. He scored the 4th most freaking receiving touchdowns last year amongst all wide receivers. He was tied with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Does any of that sound like it's going to come back and play out well in 2024?
Sounds Christian Watson-esque.
Ooh, shots fired.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, hold up. Brad, somebody's got to get kicked. I'm not even hosting this show, and that was blasphemous.
Oh
Dear Lord.
I'm deeply offended.
Ouch.
How dare you guys? Christian
That was
Watson-esque.
so mean.
Oh,
Has
Christian
anyone
Watson
checked on Jordan Addison's hamstring composition?
Ooh.
How do the two legs compare?
It might be at the veterinarian getting worked on like his dog is.
I got to talk about Christian Watson going through his rehab and trying to make both legs the same size on Player Profiler today. It was fun.
I still believe in Christian Watson. He's still the wide receiver 1 for Green Bay.
It wasn't a personal thing. It was, some metrics that were not repeatable that led to his valuation in his second year. And some of us saw it coming.
You saw the hammies coming?
No, just the lack of repeatability of his downfield targets and touchdown regression, things like that.
Did you also see when it was all 3 of the guys playing that he led the team in target share, air yard share, first downs per route run, yards per route run?
Yeah.
He led the team and all that. Did you see all that coming too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is the best of the wide receivers there. He's not going to be pulled off the field except for the injuries. Jayden Reed, that's the concern with Jayden Reed, is the 2 tight end sets. Reed mostly plays out of the slot. He's going to get pulled if both tight ends are healthy. So that's our concern with him. Romeo Doubs, not very good, but the question is, will Dontayvion Wicks, and maybe this is a question for everybody, does Dontayvion Wicks have enough to overtake Romeo Doubs as the other starting wide receiver?
Yes, 100%. And I think his metrics, if you look at, his first down per route run, his yards per route run, they're in the elite level. They are indicators of a year 2 breakout for Dontayvion Wicks. I am all in on him. I think he's going to take off this year for sure.
According to the people that were at the Senior Bowl.
If he can start over Romeo Doubs, because I don't even know if that's going to happen. Like, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't start over Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is confirmed not good. But is Green Bay going to play Wicks over Doubs this year? That's my pushback.
We gotta hope so. If they look at the same metrics that we're looking at, and we know that these teams are savvy on that. I just think that his when he's being targeted on the field, they're high value targets, and he's shown that he can produce in a limited role. I just think he's going to be able to exceed that, and talent always wins. We talk about that, and I think he's more talented than Romeo Dobbs, and I just think he's going to be there.
Agreed.
I
don't disagree with that.
A bunch of analysts were at the Senior Bowl and came away from that Senior Bowl talking up Puka Nacua, Dontayvion Wicks, and Tank Dell, and we saw what they could do talent-wise.
Can't believe y'all let Jayden Daniels fall to me. Just travesty.
It is a travesty. And we knew you were high on Jayden Daniels. You want to tell us about that? You also are very high on J.J. McCarthy, aren't you, DBro?
Yes, sir. I sure am. Let me figure out this pick, and then
he's on the clock, guys. This is a classic distraction tactic.
It was all thought out, Bradley.
I will. Considering I have kind of just let me see. What does the wide receiver room look like? You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take another wide receiver. I don't care. JSN, hello. But about who are we talking about? Sorry, I got kind of like off of my own head there for a second.
That's
Jayden Daniels. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, no. Daniels, I just don't understand what the big problem. Like, why are we ranking him so low in Dynasty and redraft everywhere? It's like, what? Why is he not a consensus QB1? Why is he not ranked higher? Like, I brought this up on Ray GQ's show the other day. Like, I said, I dropped on that show. I said, Jayden Daniels is my QB7 in Dynasty, and everybody's like, whoa! I'm like, that's a hot take?
He averaged 40 points per game in college. 40 fantasy points per game.
He's a rushing dynamo. He literally led the nation in everything you pull up with passing last year. He's going to an offense where they're going to run at like a top 5-10 clip and neutral pace. What the hell do we not like about Jayden Daniels? Like, somebody's got to explain this shit to me, because I don't get it, man. I'm like, y'all make it seem like I'm the crazy son of a bitch out here saying like, oh, I love this guy. Like, I'm like, no, like, y'all are crazy, man. Like, why does nobody like him? Oh, because he's tiny, and they want to reproduce the same 4 clips of him getting lit up in football, like him getting tackled, and they want to say, oh, I can't draft. He's gonna get hurt. It's like, yeah, okay, but you same schmoes are out there talking about Lamar Jackson, who runs and is the same damn size as Jayden Daniels,
smaller now,
but we don't like Jayden Daniels. It just feels like just bad narratives, man.
When you run like he does, and you're gonna get the rushing attempts, you don't even have to be a good passer to be a top fantasy quarterback. So what are we doing here?
Damn good passer too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You take that out of the equation and he can still succeed. So what are we doing?
I don't get it, man. I just keep drafting him. I keep drafting him everywhere. I draft him in best ball. I draft him in redraft. I have him on a ton of dynasty squads. Like, I just don't get it. Like, you want to poke holes in like his profile, and I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like, the most substantial argument I have heard about it is the pressure to sack stuff, which even then I poke holes in that argument too, because I'm like, you look at it as an entire career to shade him and to say, oh, he's not any good. And it's like, okay, we're not going to talk about his final year at LSU. Oh, wait, we only saw it in 1 year. Okay, but y'all didn't say that same shit about Joe Burrow, right? Like, nobody said that about Joe Burrow? Oh, okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're cherry picking the appropriate narratives when we talk about quarterbacks we like and that had really awesome seasons.
Yeah, the only collegiate seasons in fantasy points that even approached it, Mahomes had one, Burrow had one. There were 2 others that were elite like that. It was like the air that he put himself in is so rarefied. Even though it was just that 1 year. Well, sometimes it takes that 1 year for everything to kind of coalesce, and it did for him, and he is supremely talented.
Yeah, I just don't, it screams it not only from the numbers, But if you turn on his film, it's not hard to see. Like, he throws with anticipation. Out of all those top 4 quarterbacks, and I don't mean to go in this lengthy-ass Jayden Daniels rant, but out of the top 4 quarterbacks, yes, Caleb Williams is included, he had the highest rate of getting to his next read out of any one of those freaking quarterbacks. So don't tell me he can't go through progressions, too.
Yeah.
I promise I'm done. I'm done ranting. I promise.
Yeah.
For the moment.
I want to hear about your J.J. McCarthy take because I think he's the most insulated value there with these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks. He's got some experience. He's surrounded with the talent. I think he's going to be poised to have maybe a year of incubation, maybe behind Sam Darnold, or at least maybe half a year behind the bye, essentially. And I think he's probably a guy that coaches really like. He's a guy that can win a game, manage the clock, those kind of things. Game manager is what they call him. But I think he's probably the most NFL ready at this stage out of these guys in the top area. So what are your thoughts on that, DBro? Obviously, you have him as your quarterback too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was my QB2 of this class, and just to throw some extra respect on his name, he is inside of my top 12 dynasty quarterbacks right now. I just think, again, I think it's bad narrative season, man. I think, like, when you're looking at, you know what? Why not? I might as well just burst the running back bubble here. Let's go for it. I'm going to go down the board a little bit and take a guy that I'm personally all in on this year because nobody else is coming for this damn volume. Hello, Zamir White.
Son of a bitch. That's my dude.
Zeus.
We're hand-holding in, baby. I love Zamir this year. And anybody, look, if you think he's a classic dead zone back, we need to have a conversation because that narrative is, again, shit. It's dog shit.
21. He averaged 21 carries last year in the 4 games that he was in over Jacobs when Jacobs was hurt, and he averaged 4.2 yards per carry. He is going to be the guy. He's going to average 20 carries a game. The offensive line is going to be better with Jackson Powers Johnson in it, and he could be projected for 15 to 1,700 yards, and
he stays healthy. He's getting 300 touches, straight up. Like, he will get 300 touches, and I don't know who the hell everybody thinks is coming for that work. Oh, you believe that Alexander Madison's going to take carries? You believe that Dylan Lobby is going to come run routes? Dylan Lobby's not even going to be the freaking passing down back. Like, that's not even going to be the case.
Not to start, no. And Luke Getsy likes to use the running backs a lot. Running backs and tight ends in Chicago, he absolutely loved.
I'll take another volume back that I love that everybody apparently hates. Hello, Brian Robinson.
Yes.
But getting back to JJ real fast, because I know I've kind of skirted this in rants so far, but like, I just think it's bad narratives, man. I think it's people telling on themselves. I think it's people not watching his film and they want to talk about the volume stats. It was all the different things, and J.J. McCarthy literally proved everybody wrong throughout the entire process about all these shit narratives. It was like, okay, well, he didn't have a lot of passing volume. Okay, well, he didn't play like, I think it was 6 or 7 fourth quarters of any game because Michigan was beating the crap out of other teams so bad. He can't help that. He also has he had a head coach at Michigan that wanted to run the damn ball. So if you're telling me they're beating the crap out of other teams, do you think they're going to pass the damn ball and he's not even on the field? He can't get volume that way. And then they say, well, his arm isn't strong enough. He almost set the damn combine record for miles per hour. Oh, he's not athletic because he's a statue. Oh, okay, sure. He had the 5th highest 3-cone, and he's 71st percentile in the 20-yard shuttle. Okay, again, bad narrative. Debunked. And we want to talk about, oh, he's not a very good passer. Really? Really? Amongst all FBS quarterbacks, at least 150 dropbacks. 10th in passing grade. 4th in adjusted completion rate. 11th in yards per attempt. Oh, look at that. Also, 3rd in deep ball completion rate. 4th in pressured completion rate. Yeah, he sucks. He can't play football at all, man. Like, he's terrible. You shouldn't draft him in any damn league. And the other part about this, if you watch his film, he offers off-script playmaking ability that is just as good as Caleb, just as good as Jayden Daniels. It's just as good as any quarterback in this damn class. But nobody wants to give him any of that credit. So yeah, I love J.J. McCarthy.
He was a rushing substitute. they had packages where he would come off the bench as an RPO running quarterback in his freshman year. He can do it.
Yeah, I love the kid. I think he's going to be awesome.
The best uniforms in football. Let's just say that. Right
Michigan?
now.
Or are you talking about Vikings?
The Vikings new.
Oh, dude, those are the ones they dropped today.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the uniforms were awesome. I will say this, and I put this out on X. I was like, what are we doing with this backdrop? What in the name of the Fortress of Solitude was happening in that backdrop? Can I talk about that for a second? Because I was like, the uniforms are fire, but like, the shit are we doing? We got crystals and stuff happening here. Like, it's a winter wonderland. Like, but you play inside in Minnesota. Like, I just don't know what's going on with that.
Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice.
As Batman is fumbling his fingers.
I love it. So you mentioned the running back at dead zone, and JJ Zacharyson had a great show this week about the running back dead zone. He was talking about some of these guys that fall into that dead zone, and he initially, like, he definitely narrowed down that second year guys are money in that dead zone. So guys like Zamir White, like you picked, I think he's in a prime value. He falls into that running back dead zone. But if you look at the metrics of these guys in the second year, these old guys that are in that dead zone are the ones you kind of want to avoid.
Ryan, you son of a bitch. You already had two tight ends. What are you doing sniping me like that? Come on,
I do want to
Rhino.
point out, if everybody's looking at my draft board, we don't have to start a tight end in this mock for this starting lineup, so that's why I have not selected a tight end, just for everybody.
Same.
So I do love tight ends, and I love all the young guys. I love tight ends, but that's why I did not draft one in this exercise.
And that is fair. Bradley didn't do so either.
Not yet, anyways,
Yes.
Away. So if you don't draft one this round, you're gonna consider yourself being a liar then, right? Because you're putting it out there really heavy that you're drafting one right now. So now you got to stick to it.
No, I'm not drafting.
Rhino, fuck all the way off.
Debunked, Brad.
I had no plans to. I had no plans to.
Come on, Taysom Hill, you won't.
Taysom Hill. Yes, let's go Taysom Hill here, baby.
Well, Taysom Hill's actually a quarterback now.
God bless him. Don't even start with me, DBro. Don't even start. I feel personally victimized by the FFPC from last year.
Yeah, man. Look, he was the cheat code in best ball for so long because at the tight end position.
Well, on Drafters and DraftKings, he's still a tight end.
All right.
Noted. Wasn't he taking snaps at running back this week, Bradley, if I'm not mistaken?
Snaps at running back, and he's getting praise from the tight end room, from the tight end coaches. He's not taking any snaps, informal quarterback, depth chart, anything like that. He is a tight end as we just wait for the depth chart. Like, I'm waiting for FFPC to make that shift back. And that's where, like, you draft all the Taysom Hill in round 16 of your best ball drafts on FFPC. You just anticipate that change is going to happen again because we saw it last year.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't disagree with anything. Man, why did y'all leave Jermaine Burton there on the board? Why'd y'all do that?
Foreshadowing something there.
And
I
that'll just about do it for this draft.
Yeah. Okay, let's get that board off of here.
I am so angry at you, Rhino.
That is awesome. Okay, so we're going to get into the next segment of this show before we let our viewers go. We've got 5 guys here that we're going to talk about. It's make sure your must-have draft players in the 2024 Dynasty leagues. We tried to draft our players. We have them set on our show sheet here. How did we do, gentlemen? Did we end up getting our guy?
I got mine.
I got mine.
Yes, sir. Got mine.
No.
I left him in the last round.
No, Bradley, what happened to your guy? I heard you get a little bit upset with your guy. Tell us about your guy and who drafted him and why you were upset about it.
Yeah, so Nico Collins is He's the wide receiver one for the Texans. Like, make no mistake about it. He is built to win everywhere, and he wins where it matters, and it's downfield. He is 6'4". He's got the 4.5 40-yard dash, 90th percentile speed score, 95th percentile catch radius. And we saw with the quarterback upgrade is exactly what he needed to explode. He had the raw athleticism coming out of University of Michigan. We know University of Michigan wide receivers just don't produce in college, but day 2 draft capital, third-year breakout, and the Texans have, from a dynasty perspective, there was a little bit of chatter about, will the Texans extend Nico Collins? Tank Dell is the buy. He is the one who's under contract for a while. No, the Texans put that to rest by giving him the contract extension, $50-something million guaranteed, 72, extended 3 more years. He is going to be with CJ Stroud for at least the next 4 years. It's clear he is the big winner. He was the best ball number 9 wide receiver last year, and he's getting discounted to now like wide receiver 15, 17. But like from a dynasty perspective, he's getting completely disrespected. He's forgotten on the draft board, and I was hoping he would continue to fall because it was so close to me to getting him. Yes. And, I was hoping that people would forget about him, but he is the guy. His yards per route run among the best, yards after catch, monster. Who's going to bring him down? These 5'10" defensive backs taking down Nico Collins? No. CJ Stroud is the truth, and Nico Collins is the truth. He is the wide receiver one. Stephon Diggs, it's a 1-year deal. Tank Dell is not going to command the targets that Nico Collins does. It's clear who is the alpha on this offense, and it's Nico Collins. Treat him with respect. Draft him high.
Where do you boys have him ranked in Dynasty, if I can ask? Because I've got him at wide receiver 10. I think the conversation for Nico starts, I think he gets started as high as like wide receiver 7, 6. Like, I think it's that's where the conversation starts.
So he's definitely over Jalen Waddle. Like, I don't understand.
Oh, yeah. He's in a different tier. He's not even in the same tier for me as Jalen Waddle.
Like, he's clearly the wide receiver 1, but in some drafts, he's going behind these wide receiver 2s on teams. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Especially considering Houston is just such a rising offense with such a star quarterback. It's not like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Stroud's a baller, man. Now that they have more weapons, Houston tried to do this last year, and because of injuries and the O-line at one point, they weren't able to sustain it. They tried to go super pass heavy and pace up last year at certain points. And because of the O-line and because of injuries, they didn't stay with that diagram. Like, they slowed things back down a little bit, ran the ball, protected Stroud. I think we could see a team that's like legit top 5, top 7 in both pace and passing rate this year.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair. And and I'm not worried about Stephon Diggs. I'm not worried too much about Tank Dell. The commanding target share is there, and they're an ascending offense. So I totally agree with that call. DBro, I'm gonna get into your guy that you ended up drafting. He's a guy that you want to get in every league that you're in, startups, or you're trying to trade for him. And it's an interesting situation because they have a guy in T. Higgins that hasn't signed his franchise tag yet. He could be on the way out, and that would open up a door for a guy like Jermaine Burton. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about him and why you're so high on him?
I loved his film. Like, when I was going through the process of like all the prospects, Burton was one of the guys that I got later in the process, and it's him and it's Javon Baker. Like, when I turned on both their film, I was like, holy shit. Like, why is nobody talking about this kid? Like, putting serious respect on his name, man. I was like, Jermaine Burton is awesome, man. Like, he was miscategorized as just a field stretcher only at Alabama. Like, that's what they used him as. With a guy that really is not very good throwing deep in Milroe. Like, he's very erratic. And so it's like, I push back about the fact of, okay, when people look at his collegiate production and they look at like how he was utilized, he's not just a field stretcher only. So let's get that out of the way first. He can win at all 3 levels. He is a damn good route runner, man. And if you look at the deeper metrics with Burton as well, like, it's all the off-field stuff. It's the character concerns that teams had going into the draft that he dropped in the 3rd round. If you were telling me none of that existed, Jermaine Burton has a profile that is commiserate with, like, he should have gone in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. You could have made a case for him to go in the 1st round of the NFL draft. Like, high-end testing is there. If you look at all of his deeper metrics and stuff, and I know a lot of people go to the counting stats, and it's like, there's so much problems with, like, going just to the counting stats for guys, especially in college, because, again, they can't throw the damn ball to themselves. So you are kind of held back or pushed up also and helped by your quarterback play. And this is kind of a Brian Thomas Jr. argument. He's not as good as everybody thinks he is. But anyway, that's another fight for another day. But
told you.
Jermaine Burton, if you look at his deeper metrics, not only was he top 30 last year against all FBS wide receivers, at least 50 targets last year in yards per route run and receiving grade, he was also 90th percentile against single coverage and 82nd percentile in yards per route run. So it's just all the parts or pieces, man. It's like, we know there's going to be volume because when Burrow was healthy last year, he was that team was 3rd in neutral passing rate. You're tied to a damn good quarterback for the rest of his career, maybe, but at least on his rookie deal. T. Higgins is going to be out of the building if it's not this year, because he still hasn't even signed a damn contract, people. Like, he might not play this year. Nobody can definitively tell me T. Higgins will play this year. You can't tell me that he couldn't hold out for a contract. He couldn't at least do what Jonathan Taylor did last year and say, I'm not showing up until you freaking put some zeros behind my name. And Cincinnati doesn't like to do that. Like, they have cap space. Their owner doesn't like to shell out the big contracts and have to deal with all the money stuff. Like, so you also have to pay Jamar Chase. Do we really think Cincinnati is going to pay Chase and T. Higgins? Nope. I don't think it's happening, man. And even if T stays this year, the volume is there for Jermaine Burton to get 100-plus targets this year. Like, that's there. Tyler Boyd, who is a lesser player at every stage of his career than Burton is even right now, has drawn almost 100 targets every year. Joe Burrow has supported 3 top 36 wide receivers in the NFL in 2021. So we're all saying he can't do that again? We don't think that can happen. There's not enough passing volume that to happen. He's not a talented enough player for that to happen. So yeah, I'm taking the discount on Jermaine Burton everywhere. Like, he's languishing in a lot of dynasty ranks right now. Like, I've got him at wide receiver 42 right now. Like, I've got him right behind Jayden Reed. I've got him right ahead of Jordan Addison. I'm a believer in the talent. The landing spot's freaking fantastic. The kid can play. Like, somebody's out on Burton. They got to give me a really good damn reason why, because I don't see it.
I just want to jump in here with over at the Undroppables, or here at the Undroppables, however you want to put it. Unscore was released, and it was just a huge effort by the guys that put it together. And Jermaine Burton.
I talked about this with Jax, man. That score.
Yeah.
Y'all got some hit rate on that, baby. It's nice. It's very nice. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Biggs. I just want to throw some more love on top of what you're about to say.
Of all the rookies, Jermaine Burton was ranked 7th in unscore. His unscore was 68.7. 70 seems to be the threshold for hits. So he was right there, just behind Xavier Worthy and Lad McConkey, Romo Dunze, Troy Franklin. So his comps in the score, the model score, were Michael Pittman Jr., DJ Chark, Debo Samuel, Jayden Reed, De'Ami Brown, Josh Downs. So I like there's some misses there, but there's some pretty good hits too.
But we have to sorry, there's a caveat on the unscore too, is because they don't take account draft capital or size of any of these wide receivers. So that plays, it's just straight off of metrics of what they see.
Does ADOT play a factor in there? Because some of the names of some of those guys in there, they would have the same type of profile because they were used as field stretchers in college. Is that weighed in at all in that? Like average depth of target?
Touches per route run, yak per reception, yards per route run, first down per route run, slot percentage.
So it's probably by the aggregate, it is factored in some way. Because some of the guys that have been misses that you named off there, were used in a similar archetype in college, like De'Ami Brown and such.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I just wanted to throw that in there. I love Jermaine Burton. I love, like you said, I love the landing spot. With Joe Burrow as your quarterback, you're going to be in a high production offense. T. Higgins goes out. I mean, Jermaine Burton is the guy. We were waiting on a couple other guys like Andre Yosevich, but it looks like Burton is going to be the dude to kind of take the mantle of number 2.
All right, Biggs, who is your guy that you needed to get in this draft?
My guy was Alvin Kamara. I've talked a lot in all of our shows about the New Orleans Saints. They brought over a 49er, and that seems to be good for coaching staffs. You look at Miami, you look at Houston, and they have Clint Kubiak as their new offensive coordinator. One of the things that style of play likes to do is get the ball in the hands of the wide receiver, or the hands of the receiving running backs. Alvin Kamara averaged in his 13 games last season 17 points per game in fantasy. That puts him right around the running back 5 level, and he's not being drafted there according to Fantasy Pros ADP. He is back in the late teens, and I understand he's old and it's a dynasty startup, but I love me some Alvin Kamara, especially with Derek Carr, who he tends to check down really quickly. He doesn't wait for the plays to develop. He checks down fairly quick, and that's right in Alvin Kamara's wheelhouse. So I'll take 17 points per game.
Do you want a really wild ass stat on Derek Carr?
Yes.
I have not seen a quarterback that has finished, and again, this is kind of early because fantasy points data is still rather new in the space. I have not seen a quarterback that has finished both top 8 in both deep ball attempts and check down rate. Like, it was literally like with Carr last year, he was like, all right, baby, we're going deep. Uncle Rico time. Woo! Or he's like, just going to dump it off to you, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
There is no middle of the field. There is nothing past 12 yards. Or, well, at least it's 30 yards.
It's 50 yards.
Yeah. It was like
It's
it
a
was
bimodal
all or
distribution.
nothing, dude. It was insane. I was like, holy shit. I've never seen a guy finish top 8 in both of these things. This is wild, man.
Well, with
Yeah.
the personnel they have, the only middle of the field guy is Jawan Johnson. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, Rashid Shaheed's downfield, Chris Olave's downfield, Taysom Hill's close to the line of scrimmage, Kamara's close to the line of scrimmage. There's no middle of the field guy.
Yeah, I think Kamara's going to get his again. Like, I do question. I worry about the age, and he's had declining tackle breaking metrics, but I do think he has one probably like last hurrah kind of season. So it's like if you're competing or you're building a startup team to compete this year, I definitely get the reasons for Kamara.
Don't be afraid to win in year 1.
Yeah, it's fine. You win the league year 1, it pays for your entries for the next few years.
Yep.
It's fine.
A.T. Perry to the moon. Let's go.
All right, Mike.
I really love the Saints offense. I like once their offensive line kind of puts it together, because their offensive line last year was garbage.
It's still garbage. I hate to tell you, but it's still garbage.
I've been a Derek Carr stan from when he took over in Oakland, and I had high hopes for him last year, and I watched every Saints game on the red zone, and every game they would get to third down and I'd yell at the screen, they're gonna blitz, and sure enough, he'd just get swamped every third down. He got sacked, and so hopefully they can figure that out. And he's got weapons, and now he's got Clint Kubiak, and they can do some things.
I love it. All right, okay, Schultz, you've got your muscle shirt on. So tell me who your muscle player is that you needed to get onto your roster.
I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing about his reaction to when you said that. He goes,
Lola Bunny.
So in the same realm as Biggs there, like, don't be afraid to snag a vet at value. And I'm on Chris Godwin here. It's just a dude who it just gets us as a target monster every year. 4 out of the last 5 years, he's seen 121 targets or more. The 1 year was the year he only played in 12 games. Still saw 84. So, I mean, pace was still pretty solid there. And the biggest reason here for me is his move back to the slot. They played him on the outside last year, which just didn't work for him. I don't know if it was the cornerback matchups. Maybe he saw more press. Like, I don't know. I haven't dug in to find the reason why that didn't work. It just didn't work. And then he still saw the targets though out there, but he only had 83 catches, 63.8 catch percentage for him last year. And his lowest in the past 5 years besides that is 71.1. So big drop in catch percentage for him on the outside. So new offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen coming in. He's got some experience in the McVay tree. Godwin's going to be getting a ton of targets in the slot, which is where he wrecks. And take last year out, in the 4 previous years, his worst season is wide receiver 17 in the slot. And we're getting him at like wide receiver 38 here. And I know he's 28, but you're still looking at a handful of years of solid production. And if there's a wide receiver who can age in the league, it's the slot wide receiver. So I don't understand why he's going so late. If your team flops, you've got a huge trade a trade piece, to the trade deadline where the rookie picks, you can get some nice stuff back. I think Godwin's going to be on a huge number of championship rosters this year.
I can tell you why he goes so late, Schultz. It's because we're all ageist in Dynasty. He's old. Yeah. I mean, he has crossed the Rubicon, and now he is in the bucket of guys that they are more valuable on your Dynasty team and the points that they can accrue than anything you will get back in a trade. So, I mean, that's just... I call it the Julio Jones effect, because Julio Jones for the longest time, it was like the last 4 years of his freaking career. It was like, he's going to keep putting up points and nobody wants him in Dynasty. It's the Keenan Allen effect. Pick whatever aging wide receiver you want to talk about that keeps putting up numbers. Nobody wants them and you can't get anything for him in a trade. So he's probably going to retire on your roster, but that's why.
Yeah. Biggs, you're on mute, buddy. If you want to lip sync, go right ahead, man.
How far has Devontae Adams slid, and the guy's still going to be getting 150 targets?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish they had better quarterback play for the Raiders.
Hey, AOC is going to do it. We're talking playoffs.
From the bench? Does he throw targets to Adams from the bench?
He's the QB1.
I had to gaslight you on that.
That was good. That was good.
Raiders are trading for Sam Darnold. Mark it down.
All right.
Oh, no. Schultze from the freaking top ropes.
Yeah, bro.
Oh my God. Somebody call Ghostbusters. Please no.
All right, shout out.
Something strange in the neighborhood.
Shout out to everybody watching live now. We got our highest viewership right now, so we appreciate everybody from tuning in here. I'm going to get into my must-have player in this draft.
Who is your must-have player?
Well, I've been getting him everywhere in rookie drafts, and he's a guy that I think he's got a lot of value right now, and that's Trey Benson. He's finally arrived. His blend of power and potential is set to leave his mark on fantasy football. There are concerns about his injury history, notably his significant knee injury during his time in Oregon. But Benson has proven his resiliency time and time again. 6 foot, tall, 220 pounds. He's a force on the field. His college stats speak for themselves. 1,800 yards, 23 touchdowns over his final 2 seasons at Florida State. But it's not just his strength that sets him apart. He's got speed, and it's impressive. A 4.39 40-yard dash. That isn't, something to scoff at, especially at a running back. He isn't just a runner. He's a passing threat, too. There are concerns about his injury history, but he's overcome that. Right now, he's being ranked as an RB3 in rookie drafts. He's RB 31 overall in dynasty leagues. He is tantalizing right now. And, Player Profiler right now has him ranked ahead of Jonathan Brooks. And I think for good reason. I think that is a little bit more insulated. He may be in a more high-powered offense at this stage in his career, and he's going to probably get some opportunity right away. Jonathan Brooks is coming off that ACL injury. He could be eased into action. And I think Trey Benson, yes, he's going to be competing with targets from James Conner. But I think near the end of the year, he could totally relinquish that role and become a starter in a high-powered offense. And I just really like Trey Benson's outlook here in 2024 and beyond in Dynasty.
Grind, I love that call. And just to tease this, I have a Dynasty must-haves article that I'm finishing up right now. It probably goes live next week on fantasypros.com. Trey Benson's in that article. Love that call.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on him comparing him to Jonathan Brooks? Like, I mean, Jonathan Brooks has got the more upside as far as, more talent, but I think that the position in where he's in that offense, it could be more profitable if you're a Trey Benson owner.
So I definitely see that. I think that the thing about Brooks is that we've seen him handle volume, and I know he got hurt and with the ACL and stuff, so you can make the argument, well, we saw him with volume and he couldn't hold up. He tore his ACL. So I understand that. I have Brooks. I'm very, very high on Brooks. And I just look at not only the draft capital, but the role for Brooks. Like, I just think he's going to be better Rachaad White with draft capital. Like, or should I say actually good Rachaad White with draft capital. And so, like, I have Brooks, and some people could say this is spicy, but I have Brooks as my RB9 in Dynasty. But I don't want to bury the Trey Benson love, because you said he's RB31 in Dynasty. Like, that sounds like some crazy sauce to me. Like, I have Trey Benson as my RB18. Like, he is nestled firmly inside of my top 20 running backs. And I don't understand, like, why he wouldn't be for people. Like, James Conner's probably gone after this year. Benson's going to work in tandem with him this year. Connor misses time. We might get Benson as a workhorse this year, and everybody's like, holy crap, I should have ranked him higher. Like, well, I mean, the path is pretty easy to see, man.
Why not both? Why not both? You can
both?
easily
Exactly.
get both. Maybe not in Dynasty, but in like the best ball streets, you're getting Brooks at 90. You're getting Trey Benson at the 100 to 110s. Like, this is the pathway for zero RB to pay off for both Brooks and Trey Benson is so beautiful.
Can we also throw Marshawn Lloyd into that conversation?
Yes, of course.
It's
100%.
the exact same conversation. Same conversation, and nobody wants to have it. I'm sorry, Josh Jacobs is not good right now. He's not good at this stage of his career.
That's an exciting situation. I love that call. And the thing about Jonathan Brooks, though, he's being steamed up in 110 in rookie drafts at this stage. He's going as high as 108 I've seen in Superflex. And you're getting Trey Benson at the turn at 201, 202, 203. I'd much rather take that just with draft costs. I love them both. I think they're both going to be great. And I just think that, you can't go wrong with these two running backs in a class that people thought that was so weak.
Oh, dude.
And I don't know. I just think there's opportunity there for a lot of these guys. We talk about Blake Corum. We talk about Trey Benson. We talk about Marshawn Lloyd. Look at Jalen Wright. One injury and he's being plugged in there. What about Kamani Vidal, who has an opportunity to take on that role right away? These are all rookies. Folks, there's a lot of opportunity.
That can't happen. That can't happen, Grind. Like, I was told, and we were all told, that this running back class was utter dog shit. It was terrible. None of these guys were going to be any good. And I think that's the reason why people want to bury all these guys in the ranks. They don't want to believe in them. They heard all of this echo chamber narrative stuff, and I'm like, I'm not telling you that the running back class was amazing, but you can't tell me we had multiple guys get second-round capital for Brooks, third-round capital for both Benson and Lloyd, and there's clear paths to opportunity for other guys in this class, and everybody's still like, yeah, but the running backs were bad in this class. Don't you see? Like, oh, come on, man. Like, you've listened to the echoes for so damn long, you can't see the forest from the trees, man. Like, get out of that.
I love it.
Hey, this has been better Rachaad Whites. I think the Buccaneers drafted one themselves.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. That was a great show. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. I think we could talk all night, but we got to get, some of our viewers to bed. Some of us are on the East Coast. Some of us are on the West Coast.
Some of us have work in the morning, believe it or not.
Principal Bradley. Principal Bradley on.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Isn't school out? What are you talking about,
I still
Brad?
have next week to finish up. Dean Stalder is still working hard going through the summer. So yeah, appreciate all y'all. Shout out. Oh, it's great. All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Wrap us up, Bradley.
That
Wrap
man
us
is
up,
worried
Bradley.
about sleeping through summer school.
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in and give some shout outs. Richard Campbell, Rhett's Laugh in the chat, Best Bell Fantasy Football RPG. Thank you guys for watching and getting the comments going. Also, thank you to all the guys that we had in the draft, except for Rhino.
That man dropped that almost like a good morning to everybody except for him.
Yeah.
He knows I love him.
Yeah. Mr.
People
Bradley,
don't forget.
you are our head chief and the founder of Fantasy Plus Network. Can you send us off today? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your platform. Tell us all the viewers about everybody, and send us home tonight on our first inaugural show with our founder being part of it.
It's going to be quick because he's got to get to bed, okay? So just going to throw that out there.
Thanks, everyone.
As I'm trying to keep Brad longer.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. Bradley Stalder, Fantasy Football Plus Network. There's a lot of great podcasts happening on the network. Grindberg and Biggs, of course, putting on the Dynasty Pulse. It's definitely one of the flagship shows here on the Fantasy Football Plus Network. Bring on guests like DBro, and Schultze's been crushing it behind the scenes with all the SEO stuff and everything. We have worked really hard to make things for everybody here at Fantasy Football Plus. So we've got the website starting to get going. We've got some awesome content, and the content creators have been really putting out some awesome things. And so I just want to give shout outs to all of them. And look at us. We're doing great things, and it's bedtime, guys. I'm exhausted. So I appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, especially if you like the content. If you don't like the content, send it to your friends who you think you will. And I appreciate all y'all. Until next time, everyone, good luck in the Dynasty streets.
Yeah. Thanks, DBro, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, guys, thank y'all for having me. This was a freaking blast. Absolutely awesome show.
Yeah. Biggs.
You'll get some more invites then.
Biggs.
Say when. Say when.
Follow all of our shows on